All right. Hello, everybody. My name, do I have to gavel? All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jim Bray, and I'm the chair of the Environmental Commission in Lower Makefield Township. And we are officially opening the October 10th, 2024 EAC meeting. The first item on the agenda is the review approval of September 12th, 2024 meeting minutes. I know everybody's got a copy. Is everybody have any questions, or are we ready to approve the minutes? All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Second, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. The ayes have it, so the September 12th, 2024 minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is the 2024 Long Range Master Tree Plan. And I can give you some information on that too. Of course, the the plan was approved about a month ago. And as part of that approval, what they did is send out some bids. They have some bids now, and they were approved, I think, last night at the Board of Supervisors meeting, although I don't have official notification of that. Did you hear anything about it, Alan?
Yeah, they were approved, 4-0. James McCartney wasn't there. So
okay.
61,000. They had nine bids on this work.
Right.
A lot of people wanted
it. I saw some of the bids, and they ranged all over the place. But I think the low bid was about $61,000, and that takes care of about 95 trees at the golf course, and maybe even a little more than that, and 20 plus trees at Makefield. I think the total trees were something like 118. So I talked to Dave about that, about the bids. Right now, the amount that we state a developer has to pay for tree is in the neighborhood of $400. But it seems the cost of planting trees has far outstripped inflation because we have an inflation rider on the tree cost. So I think I'll be getting together with Dave soon, and I think we're going to make a minor modification to the ordinance to bring that up to current standards. Anybody have any issues? We don't have the exact date that the plantings are going to take place, but they should be pretty soon. Anybody have any comments or questions?
I watched the video of the meeting when they approved this, and there's two other locations they're going to plant some trees. One place is the open space at was it Stony Hill and Bluestone? I'm not sure where that is, but there's only 10 trees in the plan for that location. So I guess they're going to plant those. And then they're going to also plant some trees along Old Oxford Valley Road. And I think that might be where that development is. What's the name of it? Along Big Oak Road, that development.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know exactly where you mean, but I don't remember the name of the development.
Yeah. Remember some of the trees died that the developer planted. I don't know. But that's another location.
Was that the Regency?
Regency, right.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I wasn't aware of that, but the more trees, the merrier. So that's good information. All right. The next item on the agenda is recycling. Alan, Soumya, Kevin, and Jeanne are, to discuss this. But Alan, you're the recycling guru, so you want to just talk about that a little?
Well, it's all set. I've rented a truck for Monday morning, the 28th, to haul the styrofoam, and it's just a matter of getting people there. So anybody who can come would be appreciated. I asked Dan Bornstein of the Lions Club if they could volunteer, any of them, and he never got back to me, so I may send him another email about that. I know besides our group, we have Jim Driscoll and Steve Myers who've done it before. They were the last one, and they're going to help out.
Yeah, I think
So, go ahead.
in the past, we've had several members of the EAC. I know Soumya, Kevin, and Paul have volunteered in the past, and myself and Jeanne. The issue is the more people that are there, it really makes it a lot easier. The last time we had a lot of people, and it was one of the smoothest operations ever. So anyway, if you can find the time for a couple of hours on the 26th from 10 to 12, it would be deeply appreciated.
I'll be there.
How about Kevin?
I'll talk to my wife, who's the vice president of the Lions Club, and I'm sure she'll come.
Yeah, well, Barbara came a couple of times as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully we get a good volunteer turnout for the day. As I said, it certainly makes things easier. All right. The next item on the agenda is the single trash hauler analysis. I've done a little work on that, and Alan's done a lot of work on that. And this is something that the Board of Supervisors is very interested in moving forward with. So I think, what were we talking about, the presentation for this? Maybe late November or early December, and then maybe a week or two before sending out the presentation to the board so that they would have a look-see at it before the actual meeting.
Yeah, I'm pretty far along in writing up the report. It's going to be about 8 pages of text. And then the bid specifications from Middletown Township that they just sent out for bids last year. We can include that and the same thing from Bristol Township. They have one that's available online.
All right, as soon as you get that writing finished, let me know, and we can sit down and go over it.
Yeah, and you said everybody got back to you on their personal experience with the
Yeah,
haulers?
and it jived with the information that I received from the hauler, so there was no difference.
Okay, so we're all good on that because, yeah, we'll send it out to everybody at some point, maybe in a few weeks. So you can look at it and make sure it's consistent with what you know and all that. Because there's going to be 5 sections, current practices in LMT, current practices in Bucks County, options available to LMT for changing their trash hauling, and that'll be single trash hauler or have single trash hauler with zones. And then I guess one of the supervisors thought we should look into LMT having its own trash hauling business, or not business, but have the trucks themselves and all that. And that's not going to be a good idea. That's very expensive. And then we'll have our recommendations in section 4 and then steps forward in section 5.
All right, that sounds good. And I
Yeah.
think we will, if I remember correctly, we'll come up with one main recommendation and then list a couple of options, after that.
Yeah. Can we go back to recycling? Kevin, are you still good with the batteries? We're collecting
Hold on.
batteries.
Yes.
Something happened to the computer here.
Uh-oh.
Get started.
That happens to me a lot these days.
Oh, okay.
I had 500
I don't know. I don't know what happened here. I swear I did
all
not
over
touch
the country
anything.
on
So,
election protection.
yeah.
And Soumya, you're still good with prescription bottles?
Dominique wanted to talk about, that's okay.
Yeah, well, I'll get, I understand. Well,
Sorry. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
all right. Dominique wanted to say something. Dominique?
Just, it's on, isn't it? Yeah. You can hear me, Alan.
Yeah, move it a little closer.
Okay. Katie McVan had sent an email to everyone to say there was a special Zoom session from Doylestown on the, it was organized by the Bucks County Solid Waste Advisory and was a public forum. So I attended it yesterday. And that was interesting. It was all about recycling. And so it made me think that maybe, I don't know how much say we have in the choice of haulers, trash haulers, but I would imagine that recycling would play a big part of it to see what can be recycled and how to do it and etc. So, and this, I believe this meeting was recorded. So if I can find, if you want to listen to it, Alan, I can try
Yeah,
and
send
send
me
you
the
the
link.
link. Yeah.
I can listen to
That'd be
that.
great.
Yeah, I think that would be good because I think one of the statements we were going to make in the proposal is that the haulers have to follow the laws of the municipality and the state of Pennsylvania as far as what they do with this material.
Yeah. And if we have one hauler, we'll have a consistent guidance on what you can recycle and what you shouldn't recycle. Because right
Exactly. That
now
was
it's a
the-
little bit scattered with three
Mm.
different haulers.
Okay, unless there's any more comment on that issue, we'll move to the next one. The Birdtown EAC, there's two items here. First one was a lecture on hummingbirds that was held September 28th. And the second one was a falconry exhibition, was just held recently, October 5th. So Jeanne is going to recap those events. You're, that's right.
Excuse me. They were very successful. We had about 30 people at the Hummingbird workshop, and they were all very excited to especially see pictures of the young woman that gave the presentation, and she showed them how to feed the hummingbirds from her hand, and everybody wants to do that. And the falconry was, there were, the one in April, there were 110 people, I think. And in this one, there were only perhaps 40, but it seemed to be much better because the people could hear better, they could all be seen. And so anyway, they were both great.
We'll just add a comment too, that the one in April, the reason we had so many people was because there was some kind of a dog show in the park, and a lot of the people came over. And to be honest with you, it was almost unmanageable. So the second one that we had on October 5th, there were a little over 40 people there. And several people came up to me afterwards and mentioned that, wow, this was a much better experience than the other one because we were able to get up close and really see what was going on. So I think in the future, we probably aimed for maybe 40 to 50 people on an exhibition, for an exhibition like that. But the people, several came up to me and the input was incredibly positive. So this has definitely turned out to be a good project for the EAC and Birdtown. Any other comments that people have?
It was a beautiful day too.
Yeah, well, yeah, Dominique just reminded me too. This was the kind of a day that makes you want to live in the Northeast. It was absolutely gorgeous. So now the next item on the agenda is the proposed single-use plastics ban. Now, I talked to John Lewis about this, and I know John's interested, but His priority right now is the single use trash hauler and a single trash hauler, and also the plantings that are going to be occurring very soon as part of the long-range master tree plan. Now, as soon as those items are completed, I'm going to be talking to John about moving into a ban on single-use plastics and to get, maybe Penn Environment at one of the meetings and talk about the benefits and everything. So we're not asking them to approve it per se. We're asking them for us to be able to do an analysis and then, bring that to the board for their scrutiny. So, any more comments on that? Okay. Update on land use plans. I have no activity. Alan, is anything coming to the forefront?
Nothing that I've heard of. I've been following the planning commission. That's usually where they first pop up. But yeah, been quiet.
All right, well, maybe quiet is good. What do you think? It's less
Wow.
development going on.
I guess, yeah. One way to look at it.
Yep. The next thing is the EAC lecture series, and we're going to review future offerings for Birdtown and EAC. If anybody has, any suggestions, we're certainly, this is now the time to speak about them. Well, I actually have one, and it's kind of cool, I think. And we had a fellow here named Mike, I think his last name was Wallback, is that right? Back anyway, but he gave a lecture about a year ago on monarch butterflies, and it was really, really incredible. And he has a list of about 5 different lectures that he's willing to give. He will also make a lecture for whatever topic that you want to discuss. But I was thinking he has one on how animals propagate, mostly not large animals, but bees, flies, butterflies, all birds, all that kind of stuff. So I thought it would be very appropriate to have a lecture like that on or around Valentine's Day for next year. So anyway, that's something, I'm going to look into, and I think we would get good attendance at a lecture like that. So, and if anybody else has any ideas, just send me off an email and, we'll see if we can make it happen. We've already had 4 successful EAC Birdtown offerings this year. And, I think that's been, excellent. I think the collaboration is working very good. And, birding and gardening are the 2 most popular hobbies in the United States. I don't know which is 1 and which is 2, but people really resonate when you're talking about birds or have a lecture on them. So we're going to certainly continue that collaboration and see what we can end up with in the future. Next item on the agenda is Tree City USA. And I've been discussing an Arbor Day celebration with John Lewis and with Dave Kratzer, our township manager. So in order to join Tree City USA, and I know Soumya is very familiar with this because she did a lot of the initial work on the project, you have to take care of 4 steps. Now, we've already taken care of the first 3 steps, but the 4th step is an Arbor Day celebration, kind of a ceremony, and performing some task involving trees, like planting a tree, what have you. So I threw out several, and this, by the way, it's a little strange because you have to have an Arbor Day celebration before you actually officially become a Tree City member. It's kind of screwy, but that's the way it works. So after we finish this 4th step, we will submit the application to Tree City, and then around March of the following year, they will notify the applicants whether they've been approved or not. But by that time, they're literally all approved because if they have any issues in the meantime, they will contact Lower Makefield Township and, ask them possibly to change something or clarify something. So anyway, what we were thinking about is, and the date that the board and the manager are comfortable with is November 9th from starting at 10 a.m. in the morning and maybe lasting an hour at most. So what we had thought of doing is firstly, the reading of a proclamation, an Arbor Day proclamation. And that's really easy to take care of because the Tree City people actually give you samples to use. And I read one of the samples, and quite frankly, it's excellent. The other thing is we wanted to tie this in with a tree planting ceremony. Several years ago, we actually had a bare roots tree that we tried to plant right outside the admin building on the Edgewood Road corner. And unfortunately, it didn't take, but it was an ideal place to plant a tree. So what we're thinking is planting a red maple tree there with a cultivar that really has excellent fall color. And the reason we thought about maple is probably the all-American tree. Now, even it doesn't have to be planted that day. It could be planted a week or several days before. The idea is to get some publicity photos of the tree with the attendees maybe in front of it, and a couple of nice photos that we will send off maybe to one of the local papers. We're going to try and get some publicity beforehand. And also that will be part of the Tree City application. And another thought that I had, and I think the township manager would probably like this as well, is the tree will be dedicated to the township officials and staff and all the various boards, volunteers for all the various boards and commissions in Lower Makefield Township. So I think, for literally the first Arbor Day celebration, I think that's quite appropriate. And we're also, this is not going to be till about 3.5 weeks from now. So anybody who has any input or suggestions, please just let us know, because we're walking on untested ground here. But the other thing is we were thinking of providing light refreshments in this room. And what we've done in the past at this time of year is we've purchased cider donuts from Steyer's Orchard, along with the apple cider of their own manufacture. And that really went over big. So those are some of the things that we're thinking about for Arbor Day. And I'm having a meeting with Dave and his staff this coming Tuesday at 2 p.m, where we're going to go over a lot of those details. And hopefully, we'll come up with something approaching what I've discussed. But I'm pretty excited about this because I think it's important to become a tree city. In the past, Lower Makefield has done all these wonderful, wonderful tree projects, and we've never really sought recognition because we're so busy doing the projects. But in talking to Dave, our township manager, he's the one who gave me the idea of Tree City. And I think recognition is really, really important, because when you see like a Tree City US sign coming into a township, I think it really tells you something about the quality of life in that township. So we're really, really excited about this proposal. And maybe it should have been done a while ago, but there's no time like the present. So that's where we stand with that. Anybody have any comments or suggestions?
Just a small suggestion.
No, we just move the microphone closer. We can't hear you.
Just a small suggestion. I was just wondering, what do you think about oak instead of maple?
Well, the problem with oak is oak is probably an all-American tree as a maple, okay? I think it's, to some degree, it's going to be based on availability too, as to what size we can get. The only reason I suggested maple is because it's a lot faster growing. Oaks are notoriously slow growers, except for red oak. Red oak tends to grow faster.
I vote for red oak.
All right, well, look, red oak, maple, what's the consensus, okay? Who wants red oak?
Do some research.
Well, I mean, let's see, we have one, okay,
Two.
two. Oh, yeah, two,
Are they both native? Are they
Three.
both native?
pardon?
They're
Oh,
both
yeah,
native, okay.
native is, goes without saying. All right, well, it looks like oak is going to override my suggestion of maple, but in true democratic fashion, then we will see if we can get a red oak tree, okay?
How much faster? How much faster is growing is the maple?
I don't know. Red maples grow fairly fast, but oaks are fast grow. Fast is a relative term, okay? I don't know if it's 3 or 4 foot a year for the maple and 3 foot for the oak, but they're both classified as faster growing. So I don't think it's going to matter all that much.
Yeah.
Let's just see what we can get.
Yeah, and also,
Practical.
yeah, and red oaks actually, see, I was concerned with having beautiful fall. I'm very aesthetically oriented. I was concerned with having absolutely beautiful fall color, but red oak has nice fall color. So I think that's probably a good choice. But let me see, I'm going to be calling some of the local nurseries maybe tomorrow and the next day just to check on availability. And so that will also probably influence our choice. The other thing is, I don't know if it's going to be practical or not to take this out of tree bank funds because we might have to have the approval of the board on any expenditure. And this would be classified as a reserve tree. Now, this is something that we did very differently than from the first tree plan that went from 2016 to 2023. What we found out in the 2016 plan, as soon as we started a plan, the plan was changing, and that's the nature of plans. So what we wanted to do this time around is we classified about 300 or 400 trees as reserve trees. The reserve trees have no specific area in which they were to be planted, except when a situation like this arises, then we can use one of the reserve trees. And as Alan said too, we had initially 89 trees going to the golf course and 20 to Macclesfield. Well, he talked about those additional plantings. They will use reserve trees. So it's a big time saver because we don't have to go back to the board all the time and, get approval. So anyway, that's where we stand with Tree City USA. Any other questions or comments?
Is this
Yeah,
there?
to-
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, do you think any of the nurseries would be willing to donate since it's one tree and you could recognize them at the ceremony?
I don't know. I could certainly ask, but my impression in dealing with these nurseries over the years is they are profit oriented. Now, they might have, and this situation has arisen, not necessarily here, but I know in other areas and maybe municipalities, at the end of the year, they might be culling their inventory. And there might be a lot of trees that are still probably okay that they would be willing to donate to various nonprofits. I could certainly, ask something about that, but I think out here, we really want a first quality tree, along with the appropriate protection, deer fencing and gator bags and all that. But that's a good idea, Kevin, for the future.
And then the other comment I had is nothing against Steyr, but can we look at places inside the township?
I'm sorry?
Nothing against the Steyr orchard, but can we look at places inside the township for?
Yeah, I mean, if you have another, I just go there because it was traditional. But is there another area in the town? If there is, we'll certainly, go there. Pardon?
I'd be happy to pick up whatever.
Okay, yeah, but do you know of an area in the township?
Snipes, Shady Brook.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. The reason we did that is because traditionally, the Steyer's orchards were the only ones who really had this celebration, and they were making these things. But, all right, if you don't mind, check it out, find out if they have those, and let me know, and then certainly we'll go local.
What is that for the trees or the
No, for the
donuts?
This is for the donuts and the cider.
I'm
For-
food motivated.
Yeah, Kevin is not so much free motivated as food motivated, okay? All right, well, that's good. I'm glad, we're all on the wave, all on the same wavelength with that. Any other comments on Tree City USA?
Is that going to be open to the public? I mean,
Pardon?
that ceremony, is it going to be advertised and?
Well, it's a good question, but my personal feeling is that we should, if we invite all the administrators, the boards and commissions, I think that's going to be probably enough people. But when I meet with Dave on Tuesday, I'll ask him that question. And if he thinks it would be more appropriate to have some members of the public, well, certainly we'll send that in a newsletter.
But they,
Donuts and cider.
yeah, I was gonna say, they might eat our donuts. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, well, it would be
So the quantity.
it would be a good idea, to have a feeling for the number of people. We've done this in the past, going back years ago. We used to have those refreshments all the time. And it was always that Paul used to be the guy who picked them up all the time. And it's difficult because, if you have 40 people, you need 4 dozen donuts. But if you think you're going to get 80 and you buy 10 dozen donuts and 40 people come, there is literally a surfeit of donuts, which we have basically given to the administration, and I think they froze them. That's kind of minor and off the record, all that kind of stuff. But so,
Jim, I think for our day, it is supposed to be a community event.
pardon?
I think it is supposed to be a community event for Tree City USA, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
So, well, look, we'll send out a new. If people, what does everybody think?
I think they're gonna be, I feel like there are gonna be enough people with all of the
Boards and commission.
staff and boards and commission. That's,
Well, what about you, Paul, Dominique? I mean, if the consensus is that we invite everybody, I don't know how many people we would get. Boards and commissions, since it's dedicated to them, I think generally hopefully we get a good turnout from them. But
you know
we
what?
open it to the public through a newsletter. I think we would get some more, but I'm not sure we would get a ton of people.
So I think you ought to leave it up to Dave.
All right, is that fair enough for everybody?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend. I'm going to be at a wedding in Jones Beach in New York.
Hey, Paul, where are your priorities?
What time did you say? You had a time, didn't you?
Yeah, it's at 10 o'clock on November 9th, right here in the administration
Well,
building. the
that's a
front.
bit awkward for
Yeah.
public.
Pardon?
It's a bit awkward time for the public to.
Well, 10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Or Saturday.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on Saturday. November 9th is a Saturday. Yeah, over the years, we've thought there's literally no perfect time, but what we've come to think is that a Saturday in the morning, almost at any time of year, is probably the best time to get people out.
And the Veterans Day Parade is right that afternoon, right?
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons I think John Lewis really wanted that date, because then, the officials, they don't have to come out again. And it's in the morning and the parade doesn't, I originally talked to John, I said, look, I'm afraid, the parade is going to steal our parade. Get the pun? Okay, no one got the pun. All right. Anyway, but well, that's what's called a groaner. When you do a pun like that, the more you hear, the better off, the pun is. But anyway, we're digressing again here. But anyway, the parade doesn't start till 1 in the afternoon. So if we start at 10 here, we'll be done in less than an hour. So that should be no conflict.
They could give us a 21-gun salute.
Well, maybe that'll happen. Who knows? All right. If there's no other comments, the next item on the board is open space recommendations and ballot referendum. The ballot referendum was passed by the BOS at the 1724 meeting. And we also have, I think as part of that, I didn't put it in here, but you also had information, Alan, on the recycling, electronic recycling
Well,
in
yeah,
in December.
getting
That's
there.
sponsored by the county, I guess.
no, by the township, our township in Yardley.
Okay.
So my concern is I don't think many people in the township know about this open space referendum. It's going to be on the ballot. I would bet you I could walk up to 10 people and ask them, and maybe one would know about it. So it'd be nice to get the word out about it. So I wrote up something that, Paul, you could put in the newsletter about the open space
Yes.
referendum. We're not allowed to
Have to
take
be
a
careful
position.
how we word it, though.
Right, yeah, yeah. Jim has looked at this and it passed the Jim test, so it should be okay.
Yeah, initially I had some issues because in speaking to John Lewis about this, our commission is advisory, and we have to be very, very careful about not promoting a specific issue because that can actually cause some legal problems. But Alan did, I think, a superb job in writing this up. It's non-committal. It's just simply the facts. Like Joe
Informative.
Friday used to say, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts.
Right.
And keep in mind, the mail-in ballots have already been sent out.
Yeah, it's
so I've-
on the ballot.
Yeah, I've already seen it and voted.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Oh,
we're not
wow.
talking about the national election.
No,
No, it's on the same ballot though,
For
Jim.
the lower Makefield.
November.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, I voted on it already.
Oh, that's right, I
Monday.
forget, that's on the ballot. We just got our ballot. I'm thinking the ballots are just for the national election, but they're for all the local stuff
It's on
too.
the back of the ballot. That's the
Yeah,
tricky
it's
part.
nice.
Okay, yeah, Jeanne told me I have to fill it out tomorrow. No excuses, no, nothing.
All right, so we should get this out sooner than later. So Paul,
Paul,
I'll send it right up to
when
you.
can you get this out? What's, like, maybe tomorrow? I don't know.
yeah, well, I can send it to
Okay.
Paul tomorrow.
Yeah. Send me the
Okay.
wording, Alan. I'll get it out tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'll send it to everybody so everybody can see it. And also there's a little blurb about the recycling event, the electronic recycling event the township and Yardley are combining to put on. It's December 14th. I got a flyer here that I want to hand out at our recycling event on October 26th. So people know about this upcoming recycling event for electronics. So there's a little blurb about that in there too.
You send me a copy of that, and
Yeah,
what's
they're
the
both together.
location and
I'll
the
send them to
time?
you. And would you rather have the verbiage in the email, or you want it as a separate document?
Separate document would be ideal, but what's the location and the times? Just for the record.
For the electronic
Minutes.
recycling event, it's at the pool parking lot. And it's
Okay.
on December 14th from 9 a.m. to noon.
Okay.
All right, you think it's a little early to send that out, or we send out one now and then we send out one later?
Sure. I think this isn't too early because you get these electronic devices and you don't know what to do with them. And if you hear about this, you just put them in the basement and then
Right.
on the
All right,
December
so I
14th.
think I hear Kevin nodding too. Now and later is probably good.
Yeah.
So you'll send that to Paul as well, right?
Yep, they're both together.
Okay.
You'll get those.
And should that go out with the other or separately?
No, both together.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one, newsletter. So we'll put all the news in one newsletter, not two.
All right. and
We'll
when-
call it breaking news.
Yeah.
all right. And when we have our November meeting, we'll discuss the electronics recycling again. And they might be looking for volunteers as well. So maybe some people in the council or people outside might want to volunteer, if in fact they need volunteers.
Yeah, I don't think they do, but it's because they hired some company, eForce Recycling is going to be actually doing it. So I don't know if they'll want us around. So, We'll see though. We can ask, you should ask Dave Kratzer when you meet with him on Tuesday.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right, that's a good idea. All right, unless there's no more suggestions or comments on that item, the next is odds and ends. EAC webpage update, Alan and Soumya, you want to talk about that for a second?
On my front.
All right, what about you, Alan?
The webpage is looking better, if anybody's looked at it lately. And any changes we want, Katie's more than happy to make them. I sent her an update to the tree bank status, and she's gonna put that on in the next week. So if anybody has any other documents they want put on there, I'll go ahead and do it. Just let me know and I'll get them to her.
All right, I think that's good. And just one comment too. Katie has proven to be really, really a good liaison with us too. She's more than eager to do anything we want as far as the website or help with any specific, agenda item or anything else. So anyway, or event or what have you. And she's pretty smart and gets things done real fast. All right, open discussion. Now we can talk about anything we want. And I forgot we have a guest here, Charlie Junsrud. Perhaps you might want to make a comment, Charlie. But okay, this is open discussion, so everybody gets to air their grievances.
And I just want to thank Charlie for his work at the Falconry event. I mean, so it was only 3 cars, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, Charlie and I were in charge of traffic control at the Falconry event. Well, the Falconry parking was not the issue it was before. In the initial one, there were so many cars, and I was the chief and only traffic controller that I didn't know what to do with them. So anyway, but we were all prepared this time, and in future events, we will be prepared as well. Okay. But we have now a great team of traffic control, Charlie Johnsrud and Jim Bray. Okay. Anything else?
I don't know if people saw, there's a notice about a new invasive spider species that's coming.
All right.
I forget the exact name, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's poisonous. So something that I'll send it around, it was in the Yardley Patch. There was an article about it. But we seem to be getting with more of these invasive species every year because of global warming. They travel further north.
You have a picture?
Yeah, they have a picture in the thing, but
All right. Well, Paul, if you have a picture, why don't you
Yeah.
send it to everybody?
sure.
So, I'll check my linens tonight to make sure there's nothing like that crawling around.
Talking about propagation of insects.
Well, that's right. That's the Valentine's Day lecture. Okay. Maybe we could talk about also propagation amongst invasive insects too. Okay. We can broaden the topic a little. So I hope no one would really be offended by our lecture, but if they're offended, they don't have to come. Any other items?
Hey,
All right, well,
Jeanne,
this was kind of, go ahead,
I got
Alan.
a question for Jeanne. Did our article on the recycling ever get in the Yardley Voice?
Yardley Voice hasn't come out yet.
Okay, so it still might be
So
in
I'll
there.
let
That's
you
good.
know.
Okay.
It may or may not, so I'll let you know.
All right.
All right, well, this was kind of a fun meeting for me. I hope it was fun for everybody else too, but anyway, I had fun. And we're going to officially close this meeting at 6:46.
6:55.
5. Okay, got it. All right, thanks everybody for attending. And
right.
how do I turn this?
See you on the 26th.
See you on the 26th.
Yeah.